How's it going, guys? I'm Shifty Cow, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the AA and whether or not it's going to be in Battlefield 5 with some different variations, and overall just kind of some thoughts and opinions on the balance of the next Battlefield game, because Battlefield 4 has been out for quite a long time and it's had its fair shares of adjustments in terms of helicopters, jets, the mobile AA, and really just a lot of changes have gone down. So I just kind of wanted to talk about it and give my opinions on what works, what I think would be a really good balance for the game, and it's going to be pretty opinionated, so just kind of keep that in mind throughout the video. But anyways, guys, let's hop right into it. So first of all, the AA guns really just shred anus. Like, all this gameplay in the entire video is simply 2 different kill streaks, and this was after playing, pretty much no Battlefield for 2 months, hopping into a round and just being able to go on like a 15 to 25 man kill streak. So that's pretty insane, and it was Parcel Storm, so obviously not all the maps are going to play out quite as well as this one, but this is definitely a really good map for the LAV-AD. Now, the philosophy behind a lot of DICE's decisions on balancing and different adjustments to vehicles has been rock, paper, scissors, so I think it's supposed to go like this. The AA is just able to completely destroy anything in the air, so jets, helicopters and jets are going to do insane amounts of damage to infantry and vehicles, and obviously they're going to have little skirmishes with each other, and then infantry and vehicles are supposed to be able to just completely destroy the AA, so it kind of has this little rotation, but I think the biggest problem is that it doesn't really work like that. So first of all, obviously this doesn't really work just like rock, paper, scissors, because you have helicopters and jets fighting each other sometimes, infantry and land vehicles sometimes win against air vehicles. It's not like a perfect system, obviously, and that's leaving a bit of room, obviously a lot of room, for like a skill gap, because obviously sometimes jets can take out AAs, or AAs can kill tanks or things like that, and that stuff does happen occasionally, but I think the biggest problem is how it happens between the AA and infantry and land vehicles. So a lot of times the AA just demolishes infantry. Unless you pretty much get to cover as soon as you start getting shot at, you're just going to be chipped down so incredibly quickly, and you really can't do anything because it takes like 4 or 5 RPGs or 3C4 to take one of these things down, that you're probably just going to die. There's really not a lot of cover on maps with AAs, and so if you don't get to cover quick enough, you're just going to flat out die. So while it does have a little bit higher time to kill than obviously something like a tank or maybe like just a normal assault rifle, it's got so much armor that it really just doesn't matter. So infantry pretty much just get shredded by the AA, and a lot of times you can contest things like tanks or attack boats, and a lot of times you can actually just win. If you have the Zuni rockets on for your AA tank, which you can still totally take down air vehicles with your machine gun, it really just destroys the whole rock, paper, scissors mentality, and I think there's a lot of things they could do to actually fix this and overall just improve the balance of the vehicles. So first of all, this is something that's been tossed around on the internet quite a bit, and it has a little bit more to do with like map design and specific maps, but it's to limit the areas that the mobile AA can travel to, so you can't camp in spawns, you can't be camping the enemy spawns, and really it's just going to be very preventative on where you can actually go. So for example, I can't just go right up to the enemy spawn and camp it out, so as soon as a helicopter comes I just mow it down. Like, you can't do that, and you actually have to be in an area where infantry and tanks are actually present, so that way you're not just mowing down people in the sky and have nothing to worry about on the ground because you're in a safe spot. You actually have to be somewhat near the action to actually use this thing, and I think this would be kind of an interesting mechanic. It would definitely help if you couldn't just camp it out in your spawn, because I see a lot of people just camp out in their spawn, especially on things like Goldmund Railway, and they'll just mow down jets who are trying to do passes because they really do have to fly over enemy spawn. But anyways, I think this would be a really interesting adjustment, and it would definitely make AA pilots a little bit more concerned about what they're doing and where they are, so they actually have something to worry about rather than just what's in the sky. So the second option that I've heard a lot of other people just talking about is to flat out just nerf how much armor it is. So rather than taking 4 or 5 RPG or tank shots, it's going to be similar to the M142 artillery truck and only take 2 to 3. Now, I've also heard a lot of people saying that you should be able to get sniped out of it or shot out of it, similar to like a buggy or something like that, and I'm not entirely sure if this would be a good idea. I'd like to see it kind of like the M142, so that way it's got a just severe disadvantage against tanks, because there's been several occasions where I've been in an AA, I've had Zuni rockets and the 30 mils, active protection, all that stuff, and you can really just destroy tanks, especially if you have an engineer on your team who's kind of helping you out. You can just go to town and destroy everyone on the enemy team. So I think if they were to do this, it would just completely destroy the whole tank versus AA, and that way a tank not only has better firepower, but it also has better armor, and you're really just going to have a lot bigger advantage. So I really like to hear your guys' opinion on this. What do you think about the whole AA versus helicopter versus infantry and ground vehicles? If you guys do have any other ideas, feel free to leave those down in the comment section below. I love going through those and seeing what you guys have to say. Obviously, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to smack that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, but until next time guys, stay buttery.